Have you ever been sitting quietly, reading, watching TV, maybe just relaxing, and suddenly noticed your heart beating a little harder than usual? Maybe it felt like a flutter, or a thump, or just a subtle sense that something wasn't quite right. You pause, you take a breath, maybe even check your pulse, and brush it off. Or maybe it happened in a doctor's office. Just a routine checkup, nothing serious, until the nurse frowns slightly, looks at the monitor, and says, your blood pressure's a little high today. You sit there, thinking, really? But I feel fine. That's the tricky thing about high blood pressure. It doesn't come with flashing lights or sirens. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't yell at you. It whispers. It hides. It lingers in the background, quiet, unnoticed, until it becomes a serious threat. They call it the silent killer for a reason. And every year, millions of people around the world discover, often too late, that they've been living with dangerously high blood pressure for months, sometimes even years. Now, maybe you're here because you've already gotten that warning from your doctor. Or maybe it runs in your family, and you're wondering what you can do now, before it becomes your story too. Maybe you're trying to avoid going on medication, or you're on meds already and wondering if there's a better way. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know something right now. You are not powerless. In fact, your body is an incredibly intelligent, self-regulating machine, and with the right tools, you can support it in ways that naturally lower your blood pressure, protect your heart, and restore balance, without relying on a lifetime of pills. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a man in his early 60s. Let's call him John. He was a retired teacher, lived a pretty laid-back life. No major complaints. But during a routine checkup, his blood pressure came in at 148/92. The doctor raised an eyebrow, talked about starting medication, maybe even a diuretic. John didn't like the idea. He wasn't against medicine, but something in his gut told him, there has to be another way. So he started researching, reading, asking questions. He made small changes, cut back on salt, took walks after dinner, added leafy greens to his plate, drank more water, started doing breathing exercises before bed. 3 months later, he walked back into that doctor's office, and his numbers were 122/76. No meds, no magic, just natural, consistent choices. That's what this video is all about, equipping you with those simple, powerful tools that can lower your blood pressure naturally. Tools that are backed by science, grounded in real life, and easy enough to start using today. We're going to explore what you eat, how you move, how you breathe, how you sleep, and even how you think, because all of those things affect your blood pressure in ways you might not even realize. And if any part of this resonates with you, if you've ever worried about your heart, if you're tired of feeling confused about what works and what doesn't, or if you just want to feel better, then this video is for you. Before we dive in, I'd love to ask you for a quick favor. If you find this topic relevant to your life or someone you care about, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone who might need it. It really helps spread this message, and together, we might just save a life. All right, take a deep breath with me. Inhale and exhale. Before we dive into the natural ways to lower blood pressure, let's take a moment to really understand what blood pressure is, because this isn't just a medical term you hear during checkups. It's one of the most important indicators of how well your body is functioning on the inside. Think of your blood vessels, your arteries, as highways, and your heart as the engine. Every time your heart beats, it pushes blood through those arteries, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every single part of your body, your brain, your kidneys, your muscles, your skin. It's a miraculous, non-stop delivery system that keeps you alive every single second. Now imagine trying to drive on a highway where the lanes are tight. There's pressure from every side, and the flow of traffic is constantly under strain. That's what happens when your blood pressure is too high. It's like there's too much force behind the flow of blood, and over time, that constant pressure begins to damage the inner lining of your arteries. It causes them to stiffen, to narrow, to weaken. And that, in turn, makes your heart work even harder, a dangerous cycle. Blood pressure is measured using 2 numbers. You've probably heard them. The top number is called systolic. That's the pressure when your heart contracts and pushes blood out. The bottom number is diastolic. That's the pressure when your heart relaxes between beats. Now ideally, we want those numbers to be below 120/80. That's the sweet spot. That's when your heart and vessels are working in harmony. But here's where it gets serious. When your numbers start creeping above 130/80, even just slightly, you're entering what doctors now call stage 1 hypertension. And from there, the risks increase: stroke, heart attack, kidney failure, vision loss, even cognitive decline. And the worst part? Most people don't feel a thing. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. You can have dangerously high blood pressure and feel completely fine. You might be going about your day, working, cooking, exercising, laughing, and have absolutely no idea that your heart is under strain. And that's why understanding it and regularly checking it is so critical. Let me ask you this, and be honest. When was the last time you checked your blood pressure? Was it at the doctor's office? Was it a year ago? 2 years? Never? And if you have checked it recently, do you remember the numbers? Drop them in the comments if you feel comfortable, because I promise you, someone else is going to read your comment and realize they're not alone. This is how we help each other, by talking openly, by learning together. Now, some people assume blood pressure issues are just a part of getting older. Oh, I'm over 50, it's normal. But let me tell you something, normal doesn't mean healthy. Yes, blood pressure tends to rise with age, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. You can be 60, 70, even 80, and still have blood pressure in a healthy range. In fact, many people assume that the only answer is medication, that once you're diagnosed, you're on pills for life. But here's the truth. Medication is one approach, but it's not the only one. You see, your blood pressure is influenced by so many things: what you eat, how you breathe, how you sleep, how much you move, how much stress you carry, even the thoughts you think. All of these are levers, and when you start gently pulling on them, one by one, you begin to see changes. Real changes, measurable changes. Let's explore the foods, the habits, the techniques, the simple yet powerful things that can start lowering your blood pressure starting today. Let's talk about one of the most powerful tools you have to lower your blood pressure, and it's something you use every single day: your plate. You might not realize it, but the food you eat and the way you eat it can either be your medicine or your poison. Every bite you take sends messages to your body. It either calms your system or adds to the pressure. It either nourishes your arteries or inflames them. And once you truly understand this, food becomes more than just something to fill you up. It becomes a tool, a strategy, a way to heal. Let's begin with something incredibly important, but often overlooked: potassium. Most people focus so much on salt, and we'll definitely talk about that. But potassium is like the unsung hero in the blood pressure story. Potassium helps your body get rid of excess sodium, which, as you'll see, is one of the main villains in this story. But it doesn't stop there. Potassium also helps your blood vessels relax and expand. It's like a gentle massage for your circulatory system. Now, imagine your arteries as garden hoses. Sodium causes them to tighten and stiffen. Potassium, it helps them open, relax, and flow. That alone can bring your numbers down. So where do we find this magical mineral? In everyday, beautiful, whole foods: bananas, sweet potatoes, avocados, spinach, white beans, lentils, coconut water. You don't need supplements. You just need nature's pharmacy. Now let's talk about the big one: sodium. Ah yes, salt. It's everywhere. It's in your chips, your fries, your canned soup, your salad dressing, your frozen meals, even your so-called healthy snacks. And most of the time, you don't even taste how much is in there. Our bodies need a little sodium, yes, but the average person is consuming double, sometimes triple, the amount we actually need. And for people with high blood pressure, too much sodium can be like pouring gasoline on a fire. Here's what happens. Sodium pulls water into your bloodstream. That extra fluid increases the volume of blood in your arteries, which raises pressure. It's like turning up the water pressure in a pipe. Over time, that pressure damages the walls and forces the heart to work harder. But here's the thing. It's not just about tossing the salt shaker. Only about 10% of our sodium intake comes from added salt at the table. The rest? It's hidden, prepackaged, processed, lurking in that slice of bread, that bowl of cereal, that innocent-looking can of soup. So how much is too much? Ideally, you want to aim for less than 2,300 milligrams per day. But if you're at risk, and if you're watching this video, chances are you are, then even better would be 1,500 milligrams or less. Now don't worry, this isn't about tasteless food. It's about getting creative. Use herbs, spices, garlic, lemon, vinegar. You'll be amazed how flavor can bloom when you stop relying on salt to do all the work. And if you're wondering what kind of diet actually works for this, let me introduce you to one that's been studied, tested, and proven time and time again: the DASH diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension, and it does exactly what it promises. This isn't a fad. This isn't keto, paleo, or carnivore. This is a simple, balanced, sustainable approach that emphasizes whole foods, especially fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, legumes, and low-fat dairy. Thousands of people have lowered their blood pressure, often within weeks, just by following the DASH principles. It's not about deprivation. It's about eating real food that supports your body's natural rhythms. And here's something that might make you smile: dark chocolate and beets? They actually belong in this conversation too. Let's start with beets. This vibrant root vegetable is rich in nitrates, which help your blood vessels dilate and improve flow. Studies have shown that beetroot juice can lower blood pressure significantly, sometimes within just a few hours. Fresh beets roasted with olive oil, shredded raw in salads, or blended into smoothies. Delicious and powerful. Then there's dark chocolate. Not the sugary kind loaded with additives, but real, 70% cacao or higher dark chocolate. It contains flavonoids that improve circulation and support heart health. Just a small square or two a day can be a heart-healthy treat, not a cheat. But while we're celebrating the power of nature's treats, we also have to face the dark side: processed food and sugar. Sugar, especially refined sugar, doesn't just affect your waistline. It creates inflammation. It leads to insulin resistance. It spikes your blood sugar, which can damage the lining of your arteries over time. And all of this adds up to higher blood pressure. And guess what? Sugar hides too. It's in your ketchup, your salad dressing, your low-fat yogurt, your breakfast bar. Even the foods marketed as healthy can be loaded with added sugars that slowly, silently sabotage your heart. The worst combo of all: high salt and high sugar, the standard American diet. It trains your brain to crave more, while quietly damaging your blood vessels day after day. But here's the good news. When you start eating real food, when you swap processed snacks for fruit, sugary drinks for herbal tea, fast food for home-cooked meals, your taste buds change. Your cravings shift. Your energy improves. Your blood pressure begins to normalize. And you don't have to be perfect. Even reducing processed food by 20 to 30% can start making a difference. Every step matters. Every choice counts. And if you've ever felt like your blood pressure is out of your control, just remember, you control what goes on your fork. And that's a powerful place to begin. Now that we've covered the foundation of nutrition, let's move on to another key piece of the puzzle: movement. Because your body was designed to move, and when it does, something amazing happens inside your arteries. Let's talk about movement. Not as a chore, not as punishment for what you ate, not as a checkbox you begrudgingly tick, but as a gift. As one of the most underrated, accessible, and powerful ways to lower your blood pressure and protect your heart for life. Here's something most people don't realize. Your heart is a muscle. And like every other muscle in your body, the more you work it, the stronger it gets. When your heart is strong, it doesn't have to struggle to pump blood through your system. It does the job with ease. It pushes blood through your arteries with less effort. And when the effort goes down, so does the pressure. That's the magic of movement. And I want to start with the simplest, most effective form of movement known to mankind: walking. Research shows that walking briskly, even just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, can lower your blood pressure by up to 8 points. That's the kind of drop some people get from prescription medication. But instead of side effects, you get better sleep, better mood, more energy, stronger joints, and clearer thinking. Now I want you to think about your typical day. How much intentional movement did you get in yesterday? Be honest, was it 30 minutes? 15? Maybe none? There's no shame. This is about awareness. About waking up to what your body really needs. If you work a desk job or spend a lot of time seated, in the car, on the couch, at the computer, this is even more important. Our modern world has trained us to sit still, to stay in place. But our bodies were never meant for that. The human body is designed to move, to bend, to stretch, to carry, to walk, to climb. And when we don't move, our blood flow slows. Our muscles weaken. Our arteries stiffen. And the pressure starts to rise, silently, steadily. But here's the good news. Even small movements make a difference. We call them micromovements, the little ways you interrupt the stillness throughout your day. Standing up every hour to stretch your legs, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, doing a few squats while you wait for the microwave, reaching up and touching your toes when you feel your shoulders getting tight. These moments, though small, are powerful. They keep your blood circulating. They tell your body, I'm alive, I'm engaged, I'm taking care of you. Now let's take it a step further into the world of strength training. A lot of people, especially as they get older, tend to shy away from weights. They think strength training is only for bodybuilders or gym rats. But let me tell you, it's one of the most important things you can do for your cardiovascular health. Lifting weights, even just 2 or 3 times a week, has been shown to improve circulation, strengthen your arteries, and reduce blood pressure. Not only that, but it helps prevent age-related muscle loss, supports metabolism, and improves balance, which means fewer falls, more mobility, and a stronger body overall. And it doesn't have to be heavy lifting. It could be bodyweight exercises, like push-ups against a wall, squats to a chair, or lifting light dumbbells at home. The point is to create resistance, to challenge your muscles just enough that they respond, adapt, and grow stronger. When your muscles are strong, they help absorb the workload from your heart. They improve blood flow and help your body manage insulin more effectively, which also lowers pressure. So whether it's walking, lifting, dancing, gardening, yoga, tai chi, or just stretching on the floor while watching TV, it all matters. It all moves the needle in the right direction. And perhaps the most beautiful part? Movement is medicine with immediate results. In fact, did you know that a single workout, even just one brisk walk, can lower your blood pressure for hours afterward? That's called post-exercise hypotension, and it's one of the many reasons moving your body daily is so crucial. You don't have to wait weeks or months. You can literally feel better today. But here's the trick. Consistency beats intensity. Now that we've moved through the power of food and the strength of movement, let's turn our attention inward to something even more subtle, yet just as impactful. Let's talk about stress and the role your breath, your thoughts, and your nervous system play in managing your blood pressure. Let's be honest, stress is everywhere. It's in the emails that never stop coming. It's in the news. It's in the late bills, the missed sleep, the family drama, the long to-do list you never seem to finish. It's in the quiet moments too, in the constant hum of worry, the tension in your jaw, the breath you didn't even realize you were holding. And while a little stress now and then is normal, even useful, chronic stress is a different story. Chronic stress changes your body in subtle but powerful ways. Your brain stays on high alert. Your nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight mode. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, stays elevated. And that causes your heart to beat faster, your blood vessels to narrow, and your blood pressure to climb. Day after day, drip by drip. It's no surprise that chronic stress often leads to chronic high blood pressure. But here's the key. We're not powerless. You are not at the mercy of your stress. You have tools. You have choices. And some of the most powerful techniques don't require medication, therapy, or even much time. They just require intention and a few moments of stillness. Let's start with the most basic, yet most overlooked habit of all, breathing. Yes, breathing. You do it all day, every day. But most of us don't do it well. When we're stressed, we take quick, shallow breaths. We hold tension in our chest. We feed the fight or flight response without even knowing it. But when we breathe slowly and deeply, intentionally, something remarkable happens. Our parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. That's the rest and digest mode. Our heart rate slows. Our blood vessels relax. Our cortisol drops. And our blood pressure starts to come down, sometimes within minutes. There are many ways to practice this. One of the most powerful is called the 4-7-8 technique. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 7. Exhale slowly for 8. Repeat that for just a few minutes and watch what happens. Your body softens. Your mind clears. The weight on your shoulders begins to lift. Another one. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold again for 4. This method is used by athletes, first responders, even Navy SEALs. Why? Because it works. Even just 5 minutes a day of mindful breathing can reduce stress levels, lower your blood pressure, and give your nervous system a much-needed break. But it doesn't stop there. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you spent time in nature? Not just walking to your car or glancing out a window. I mean really being in nature, under the open sky, surrounded by trees, listening to birds, or feeling grass under your feet. Because studies show that nature is medicine. Spending time in green spaces, even just a short walk in the park or sitting on a bench by a tree, significantly lowers cortisol levels, reduces heart rate, and improves mood. It's called nature therapy, and it's free, it's simple, and it works. Even looking at natural landscapes, photos of forests, mountains, rivers, can trigger a calming response in your brain. Our nervous systems are wired for the rhythms of nature. We belong in it. So whether it's gardening, hiking, walking your dog, or sipping tea on the porch, try to build a little green time into your day. Even 10 to 15 minutes can bring your pressure down and your spirit up. But there's another factor in this stress story, one that too many people underestimate: sleep. When we sleep poorly, or not enough, our bodies pay the price. Blood pressure rises. The heart works harder. Inflammation increases. It's a vicious cycle. And in today's world of endless scrolling, late-night emails, and Netflix binges, sleep often becomes the first thing we sacrifice. But here's the truth. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially for heart health. Your body does deep repair work during sleep. It regulates hormones, reduces stress, and brings your systems back into balance. Poor sleep, on the other hand, has been directly linked to elevated blood pressure, even in healthy people. That's why 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night isn't just ideal, it's essential. And here's a little tip. Try keeping your phone out of the bedroom. Create a wind-down routine. Turn the lights low. Avoid caffeine late in the day. Your nervous system thrives on rhythm, so the more consistent your bedtime and wake-up time, the better your body will respond. Now, as we wrap up this section, I want to leave you with something a little unexpected, but just as powerful: joy. Yes, joy. You see, we often focus so much on what's wrong, what we need to fix, improve, cut out, that we forget one of the most healing forces on earth is already inside us. Laughter, connection, pleasure, gratitude. These aren't just nice-to-have emotions, they're biological signals. They tell your nervous system that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are okay. And guess what? When you laugh, really laugh, your blood vessels expand. Endorphins are released. Stress hormones drop. Blood pressure lowers. So go ahead, watch that ridiculous comedy. Play with your grandkids. Dance in the living room. Call that one friend who always cracks you up. Play. Be silly. Smile more. So to recap, breathe deeply. Rest fully. Step outside. Laugh often. And let go of what you can't control. We've talked about food. We've talked about movement. We've explored the quiet power of stress relief. Now let's bring it all together with the small, daily decisions that often get overlooked, but can create a massive shift in your blood pressure over time. Because sometimes, it's not just about the big things. It's the tiny choices you make over and over again. What you drink, how you breathe, when you rest, what habits you carry, that write the long-term story of your health. And that brings us to a tough but important topic: alcohol. Let's be real. For many people, that evening glass of wine or weekend cocktail is part of winding down, socializing, relaxing. And in moderation, it might not be a problem. In fact, some studies even suggested that light to moderate drinking could have cardiovascular benefits. But here's what we now know. More than one drink per day for women or two for men can begin to raise your blood pressure. And not just a little. It can cause noticeable, sustained increases, especially if it becomes a regular habit. Alcohol interferes with the natural rhythms of your body. It disrupts sleep. It affects hormone levels. It changes the way your blood vessels contract and expand. And over time, that can take a toll on your heart. Now, I'm not here to tell you to give up something that brings you joy. But I am here to tell you this. If you're serious about lowering your blood pressure naturally, cutting back on alcohol could be one of the simplest and most effective steps you take. Maybe it's switching from daily drinks to weekends only, or swapping your second glass for sparkling water with lemon. The point isn't perfection. The point is awareness and conscious choice. And speaking of choices, let's talk about one of the most dangerous and most addictive habits out there: smoking. I know this one hits hard. And if you're a smoker, I want to speak to you with nothing but compassion, not judgment. Because I know how hard it is. I've talked to people who have tried to quit dozens of times. I've seen the struggle, the shame, the frustration. But I've also seen the power of what happens when someone finally breaks free. Because every single cigarette, every puff, causes an immediate spike in your blood pressure. Not hours later, not over time, right then and there. It also damages the lining of your arteries, hardens your blood vessels, and makes your heart work harder with every beat. And the truth is, quitting smoking might be the single most powerful thing you could do to improve your blood pressure, your heart health, your lungs, your energy, and your lifespan, all at once. And I get it, it's not easy. But people quit every day, and they don't do it alone. There are hotlines, support groups, patches, gums, apps, therapies. There are people out there who want to help you succeed. So if this is your battle, let this be your sign. You can do it. And your future self will thank you 1,000 times over. Now let's move to another piece of the puzzle, one that's often tied to all the others, your weight. This is another tender topic, and I want to approach it with care. Because weight is personal, it's emotional, and it doesn't tell the whole story of someone's health. But when it comes to blood pressure, it does matter, especially when there's extra weight around the abdomen. Why? Because carrying excess weight forces your heart to work harder. It increases resistance in your blood vessels. It often leads to inflammation, insulin resistance, and other issues that raise blood pressure over time. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need to lose a lot to make a difference. Losing just 5 to 10% of your body weight, even if you're not at your goal, can lead to a significant drop in your blood pressure numbers. We're talking real results. Less strain on your heart, more energy, better sleep, improved mood. And it doesn't require extreme dieting or intense workouts. It starts with small changes, fewer processed foods, more movement, better sleep, less sugar, less alcohol, the very things we've already talked about. Let your weight loss be a side effect of a healthier lifestyle, not the only focus. And celebrate every win, no matter how small. Your body notices. Now here's something that seems so simple, but has a massive impact. Monitoring your blood pressure at home. There's an old saying in health. What gets measured, gets managed. And it's true. Just the act of tracking your blood pressure regularly can bring more awareness to your decisions. It's like shining a light on your body's feedback, a reminder of what's working and what needs adjusting. You don't have to be obsessive, but having a reliable home blood pressure monitor and checking it a few times a week, at the same time each day, under similar conditions, can give you a clearer picture of your progress. And it helps your doctor too. It fills in the gaps between appointments. It removes the white coat effect. It gives context to your efforts. So if you don't already have one, consider getting a monitor. Learn how to use it properly. Track your numbers. Celebrate the improvements. And use that data to empower yourself, not to shame yourself. So let's recap the lifestyle habits that make a real difference. Drink less. Quit smoking. Lose a little weight if needed. Track your numbers at home. Up next, let's look at some surprising, science-backed techniques that don't fit into a neat category, but can still move the needle when it comes to lowering your blood pressure naturally. We've covered the major pillars: food, movement, stress, habits. But now, let's talk about the supporting players. The little extras that, when used wisely and safely, can help tip the scales in your favor. Yes, I'm talking about natural supplements. Now let's be clear from the start. Supplements are not magic pills. They're not a replacement for healthy eating, or exercise, or stress management. But when used alongside those core habits, they can give your body an extra boost, like a gentle nudge in the right direction. And here's the thing. There's actual science behind some of them. We're not talking about trendy powders with flashy labels. We're talking about naturally occurring nutrients and herbal compounds that have stood the test of time and, in many cases, have been backed up by clinical research. Let's start with one of the most underrated minerals in the wellness world, magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body. It supports muscle function, nerve signaling, energy production, and yes, it helps regulate blood pressure. Magnesium acts as a natural calcium blocker. It relaxes the blood vessels, eases tension, and can improve circulation. In fact, studies have shown that people who regularly get enough magnesium, either through food or supplementation, tend to have lower blood pressure readings. But here's the tricky part. Many people are actually deficient in magnesium and don't even know it. Why? Because stress, poor diet, and even certain medications can drain your magnesium levels. You can find it in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, legumes, and whole grains. But if your diet is lacking, a magnesium supplement, particularly magnesium glycinate or citrate, might help. Just remember to start slow and consult your doctor, especially if you're on medications. Now let's talk about a lesser-known but mighty player in the heart health game, coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10. CoQ10 is an antioxidant naturally produced by the body. It lives inside your cells, where it helps produce energy and protect against oxidative stress. But as we age, and especially if we're taking certain medications like statins, our CoQ10 levels decline. So what does this have to do with blood pressure? Several studies have shown that supplementing with CoQ10 can lower both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, especially in people with hypertension. It works by helping blood vessels relax and improving energy production in the heart muscle. It's safe, it's generally well tolerated, and it could be an especially good option if you're middle-aged or older. Think of it as fuel for your cardiovascular engine. Next up, an old favorite you've probably heard about before, omega-3 fatty acids. Found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, and also in flax seeds and walnuts. Omega-3s are essential fats with powerful anti-inflammatory effects, and they've been shown again and again to support heart health. But here's the exciting part. Omega-3s can also help reduce blood pressure, especially in people with mild hypertension. They help relax the blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and lower triglycerides, all of which are tied to better cardiovascular health. If you're not eating oily fish 2 or 3 times a week, you might consider a high-quality fish oil supplement. Just make sure it's third-party tested for purity, because quality matters here. Now, let's turn to something a bit more flavorful, garlic extract. Yes, garlic. That little clove in your kitchen isn't just for pasta and roasts. Garlic, especially aged garlic extract, has been used for centuries in traditional medicine, and modern research supports its role in lowering blood pressure. It works by promoting the production of nitric oxide, which helps dilate blood vessels and improve circulation. Some studies have shown reductions of up to 10 points in systolic pressure with regular use. And unlike some medications, garlic also helps improve cholesterol levels and boosts immunity, a triple win. You can get the benefits through fresh garlic in your cooking, but aged garlic supplements are often used in studies because they're more stable and concentrated. Now let's finish this list with something a bit more soothing, hibiscus tea. Hibiscus isn't just a beautiful flower. It's also a powerful herb with remarkable blood pressure-lowering properties. In fact, several studies have shown that drinking hibiscus tea daily can result in significant reductions in blood pressure, sometimes comparable to the effects of prescription medication. It's rich in antioxidants, tastes tangy and refreshing, and makes a great alternative to sugary drinks. Sip it hot or cold, once or twice a day, and over time, it may help your body regulate blood pressure more naturally. But here's the reminder. None of these supplements should be taken without talking to your doctor first, especially if you're already on blood pressure medication. Some of these can interact with prescriptions or thin the blood, which can be dangerous if not managed properly. So always do your homework. Read labels. Start with low doses. Keep your healthcare provider in the loop. Because when it comes to your health, being informed is powerful. And combining natural support with lifestyle changes, that's where the real magic happens. You've made it through this entire journey, from understanding the science of blood pressure to exploring food, movement, stress, supplements, and more. You've soaked in information that could quite literally save your life or the life of someone you love. But now comes the part that really matters. What will you do with it? And this is where the real magic happens. Not in the watching, not in the listening, but in the doing. The quiet, simple choices you'll start making as soon as this video ends. Let me ask you something personal, and be honest with yourself. What are you ready to change? So here's what I want you to do. Right now. Yes, right now. Choose 3 habits from today's list. It could be something simple like, I'm going to walk for 20 minutes every day after dinner. I'll start drinking hibiscus tea instead of soda. I'll do 4-7-8 breathing every morning before checking my phone. I'll add leafy greens and beans to 1 meal a day. I'll commit to no alcohol Monday through Thursday. I'll finally get that home blood pressure monitor. Whatever feels most doable, most aligned, most urgent, whatever you know, in your gut, could shift something in you if you stick with it. Once you've picked your 3, write them down. Put them on your fridge. on your bathroom mirror, in your phone, on a sticky note at your desk. And then, start small. No pressure, no perfection, just consistency. You don't need to run a marathon. Just walk around the block. You don't need to change your whole diet. Just swap one meal. You don't need to meditate for an hour. Just breathe for 5 minutes. Little by little, those small steps create momentum. That momentum builds confidence. And that confidence becomes change. So let me ask you, and I'd love for you to answer this in the comments below. What are your 3 starting habits? Because when you share, you don't just commit to yourself. You inspire someone else who might be reading. Here on this channel, we're building something special, a community of people who are learning, healing, and growing together. People who believe in the power of natural health and who are willing to show up for themselves and for each other. So if this video sparked something in you, if it made you think of your parents, your partner, your best friend, or even just yourself, please take a moment to like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share it with someone you love. And if you want more videos like this, deep dives into the natural healing methods your body is craving, don't forget to hit that notification bell. We're just getting started. Until next time, stay healthy, stay strong, and take care of your heart. We'll see you in the next video.